Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. And today we are talking about passion. I think it's really, really trendy right now. You'll see people saying, like, oh, the way to resolve your burnout is if you just follow your passion. And that's not right. So let's break that down and talk about what that really looks like because yeah, passion is not something that is going to resolve burnout necessarily. And what happens is we can make these huge, huge changes in our life to follow our passion and then find out that we're equally as burned out or unhappy, dissatisfied. So the first thing I want to talk about before we talk about passion is what is it that burnout, what is burnout and what is it that you're really looking for? Okay. So burnout actually happens on a biological and psychological level. So burnout isn't like, oh, I don't really like my job. I want a new job. Okay. Burnout is when you start to feel apathetic. You no longer care about going into work. You're starting to feel disengaged with work. You're exhausted. So you're going to feel it physically. You're going to feel it mentally. Things are just harder. It's harder to make decisions. It's harder to care. You know, you could fantasize. Like I used to fantasize of getting an fender bender, like nothing too, damaging, but I was like, oh, like I just wish I would have like a car accident, just a small one, so I could just lay in the hospital for a week. And we've had other clients say the same thing, where there's a bit of a fantasy that, whatever, you don't make a flight and you get stuck on an island somewhere where you've been vacationing for an extra week. And those are the types of things that we start to experience when we're experiencing burnout. Okay. So whether it's fantasy, again, just letting go, disengagement, exhaustion, just not caring. You used to get up and have your best, outfit on and your hair and your makeup. And now it's like ponytail and I'll just keep the Zoom, off or whatever. Like that's what we're talking about with burnout. Okay. And so for myself and for the majority of the women that we work with, we love our jobs. Like when I burned out, it wasn't because I had, a job I wasn't passionate about or was doing something I wasn't passionate about. I thought that, and it's very common to think that the reason I burn out is because of how I was working, and how I process stress and and what I believed about how to create success, how to be successful in life and at work. So that's why I burn out. And it had nothing to do with whether or not, I was passionate. I love my job. I love my job. I love my company. I love the work that I did. I loved so many people I worked with. I mean, I had a beautiful life, no complaints. And that's part of the problem is that when you have so much that is good and you see it and you're like, I should love this. What's wrong with me? Right? Why am I not grateful? Why am I not happy? Why am I burning out? And because there's such cognitive dissonance, right? So you're seeing, here's this beautiful life I've created, and I should be so happy. And everyone else is telling me, look at you, you're amazing, right? So how many of you, let me stop for a minute, just in the comments below, like how many of you just put like the letter A? People will tell you like you have it all. Right? Or that your life looks great on paper. Like on paper, people would be like, wow, what an impressive, whatever address, what an impressive bank account, what an impressive job, what an impressive title that you have. What an impressive, whatever, partner and 2.5 kids and half a dog or whatever. Like you have all the things, right? All the things. But it doesn't feel like you have it all. And it doesn't feel exceptional, right? And that's where burnout and disillusionment comes in. And so what happens is that cognitive dissonance between, wait a minute, I was told that if I worked really hard and I got all these things, I'd be really, really happy and successful and life would be great, but it's not feeling that way. And so then we start looking for, how can I make a shift over here into something else, because maybe that thing will make me happy. Because what we do is we go, well, I must have done something wrong, right? Like that's what I was doing. Like I obviously did something wrong. I thought I wanted to be a corporate marketer. I thought I wanted to be an international marketing executive. I must have been wrong. I really want to be And, for me, like at one point, I was like going to quit my job and become a youth director. Like, it was so much fun when I was hanging out with youth on the weekends or once a month or whatever I was doing. And it was like, oh, if I could get up and do this every day, I would be so happy. Who cares how much money I make? I just love this. Okay. That's an escape. And it's not that you don't love it. Who wouldn't love being around kids and working and, whatever, if that's what you like, but that doesn't mean that creating your career in being, that thing is going to make you happy. Right. So I'm not saying that you can't be happy working youth group. And then for a while, like for a long time, my daughter had a horse and we had, and so we rode together on the weekends or, 5 days a week she was riding. And I would go to the farm after these intense, amazingly crazy days, my head full of the swirl, all the undone things, all the stress, all the pressure. And we'd go to the farm and I would just lose myself at the farm, right? Same thing like kids in a youth group, right? Like you're not thinking about anything else. You're just like boom, 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 dealing with, kids. And it was magic. And I used to see the woman at the farm and she would walk out, to say hello. And here she had this stable with all these horses. And I just thought, I want to be her. I mean, how cool to be walking around in some dirty old blue jeans and dusty boots and not have to wear makeup and put a hat on. That's what I'll do. That's my passion, right? I love horses. I love being around them. I'll do that, right? And when I finally did burn out and I went to move to the island, I mean, I didn't burn out to go live on an island and fan myself and eat grapes. I left my incredibly lucrative career where I was very successful and for a job as a dive master, right? So same thing, youth group, whatever, own a horse farm. Now Kate's going to be a dive master. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure. I'm going to be a dive master and I'll go to all these cool locations around the world. And this is how I'll see the world. And I'll just be a dive master. I mean, people do this for a living. They're dive masters. Why can't I? I've done something wrong. I need to pick a different, vocation, something I'm passionate about. And at that time I was passionate about scuba diving. No. And it wasn't that wasn't amazing. Like the island was amazing. The people were amazing. Diving's amazing, amazing. But it didn't solve the inner discontent. It didn't solve the problem, which was it's how I approached creating a successful life. So that's the key, right? So let's just say right now you have this, whatever swank job as a business professional, whatever you do. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a business entrepreneur, you're a corporate exec, whatever, right? And you're like, oh, I really just want to be, okay, whatever. A basketball coach. I don't know. I'm going to go, I'll just grab something random, hypothetical. Oh, I love basketball. I've always loved basketball. I love coaching kids. I'm going to go be a basketball coach. And yeah, I'm going to give up. Let's just say it pays you the same. I forget the salary. Let's just say there's not even a difference in salary because I'm choosing, I'm going from here and here salary differential. Let's just say you're going to be a basketball coach at the NBA, which pays you, what you make now as an exec. I don't know, whatever. So now you go from the business environment that you're in to this basketball coaching environment because you love basketball and you love coaching people and you're a huge, sports fanatic and you live and breathe basketball at nights and the weekends. And you make that switch. But what you take with you, which is what I take with you, is the same way you approach success, the same way you create success, your beliefs about success, how you work, right? How you prioritize your life and the choices you make, and a absence of knowledge about what creates well-being. And I didn't say wellness, not like health, well-being, like that inner contentment where you're just like, I have well-being and I feel fulfilled. Okay. So if you're not taking those things from whatever well-paid job as a business person to well-paid job as a basketball coach, it's going to be fun for a while. Like, it's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be all the things, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the NBA and I'm coaching basketball and I get to wear different outfits or whatever it is for you. You know what I mean? I get to have squeaky shoes on the court. That drives me crazy. And yeah. And so, but you're taking all the stuff with you. So that's not it. Right. And so that's why whether I've been a youth counselor, or I had had a horse farm, or when I, did go to the islands and become a dive master, like it all, you take it with you, right? Because the burnout is coming from how we are establishing our lives and creating our lives, and especially hyper successful people, because we're not as balanced, right? We've been working our butts off for decades, and we are not okay with doing things slowly. We're not okay with pacing ourselves. We're not okay with simplicity. We love complexity. And so, if that's who you are and that's in your DNA, you can't take that to I don't care if you're going to bake cupcakes and sell them on your sidewalk, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Like, it's the same thing. It's going to be like, ooh, card table, that's not good enough. We're going to have something else. Ooh, let's get let's get a little sign out, and we need to put flyers all over the neighborhood. And then we need to have a graphic designer. And like, before you know it, it's like, oh my God, like the cupcake bake sale is the priority. And you're telling your children and your partner to, just go sit in the corner because mommy's got a bake sale. And that is the key. So it's not your passion. Now, here's the thing. If you have always thought, oh my gosh, I really want to, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Let's just think something, whatever. I've always wanted to be an NBA coach, but let's go back to that NBA basketball coach. And I never took my shot when I had it back in college, and I'm going to go for it. Like, I really know that is something that would meet my needs at a very high level. It would be exciting for me to do. I know it's going to be hard, and I know it's going to be difficult, but I got to try it. Like, I can't lay down and take my last breath unless I try to be an NBA basketball coach. I may not make it. I may not make it to the big leagues, right? I may never coach anything other than, local rec basketball for 5-year-olds, but I got to take my shot. Now you're going after your passion in a way that makes sense, because you're going towards this thing that you really want. Okay. But the other thing about passion is you can have passions and things where you just lose yourself. Like with me, with the writing, riding horses or working with kids. Like, I love being with kids. I love diving. I love a lot of things that I'm passionate about. And I get that feeling of flow and escape when I do them, but I don't do them for a living. And you can have even like, now I love my job and I love my work, but you could even have a job that you're not that excited about. Like, think about Tom Clancy, right? Tom Clancy was an insurance salesman, or owned an insurance, I don't know, what do you call it? A brokerage? Sorry, wrong language. And that's what he did for a living. Like, that's a great living, but it's not as sexy and glamorous as being Tom Clancy, the author of, whatever, Red October or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds cool. And so he never set out, as far as I know from what's been published about him. I mean, I don't know him personally, or didn't know him, to be like a world famous writer. He wrote because it was his passion. And he would, sell insurance by day. And at night, he would go home after dinner and write, because it was his passion. Just like riding horses was my passion. So your passion does not have to be what you do. And don't even get me started on purpose. That's a whole other broadcast. We'll do that one next time. But your passion is not something that you have to do. It's not your vocation. He just happened to be so good at, what he did, is that when he finally shared it, just for the joy of sharing, right? Like, I'm the same way. Like, when I was riding horses, I was like, oh, do you want to come ride with us? It's so fun. We go on these trails and it's magic and blah, 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 right? Like, when we have an experience that we love, we want to share it. And it wasn't until he finally shared that initial work that he did that people were like, whoa, dude, you're really good. And before you know it, his passion became his vocation, right? There's stories of other people who have tried that, where, again, they thought, oh, blah, 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 I love doing this thing, which is more like a hobby. And then they make it their job and they hate it, because now you have to go to work every day and do this thing that used to bring you joy and escape. That's gone. Now it's something that you have to do. There's pressure, there's deadlines, there's the business of your hobby, right? That you have to, get customers in the door and pay the rent or whatever it is. And for me, like, when I was diving, as much as I loved diving and I loved being in the water and I loved living in the islands, and there was a lot of great things about it, I was still spun up about, now I have to, like, first of all, I wasn't happy just being like the new girl dive master on the team. It was like, ooh, How do I be the person that gets chosen for this special thing? And how do I get to be the person that has that responsibility? And how do I get to be the person who drives the boat, not just rides on the boat? And how do I get the person, to be the person who does the speech to the customers and doesn't just like put the tank on their back? Like, you know what I mean? It's like all the stuff, like, hello, like, there we go, because when you are built this way and you are someone that is a driver and you're ambitious, that's how you look at everything, right? Like you look at the dishwasher that way and you're like, I wonder if we could rearrange this and get 6 more plates in. You're a problem solver and you want to be ambitious and you want to get things done and you want to elevate and you want to grow. And that's in you. And so again, just moving from, whatever job you do to something that's your passion, that doesn't cure burnout. Now, is it that you could incorporate more things in your life that give you flow, like your passions? Absolutely. Even just little bits during the day can do a lot to take the edge off. Is it that you could work a 9-to-5 mundane job the rest of your life and then have this beautiful life that you've built full of passions and hobbies and interests and things? Cool. Absolutely. Like for a lot of the women we work with, a lot of them are married to people who do that, or they're in relationships. Their partners are people who are not necessarily ambitious, and that's okay, right? They're like, no, I mean, I go to work and I want to work and I want to do my job and my job's fine, but it's nothing that whatever, I could take it or leave it kind of a thing. It's fine. But then they come home and they have all these interesting hobbies. They have music, they have sports, they have art, they have a bowling club or, whatever it is. Like, who's to say that person has more or less well-being than someone who is, making 7 times more that much money or whatever. And so, well-being is about you really understanding at a deep biological and psychological level how to meet your needs to create a life that's full of the things that give you fulfillment, and to recognize that some of the things we're told are supposed to give us fulfillment, that might work for, the Joneses next door or the Smiths on the other side of you, and that may not work for you, right? But once you understand and can calibrate to what works for you, then you can just do more of those things. And you just have this like more and more and more robust, fulfilling feeling. And that's why understanding human needs is so essential to everything we teach. I mean, everything we teach our clients is we teach them about human behavior at a very deep root level so that they can recognize it in themselves and then go, oh, wait a minute, I know what I need right now. I don't need a drink of water. I need to do that email. Wait, I don't need to do that email. I need a drink of water. Wait, I don't need a drink of water. I need to make a phone call. Wait, I don't need to make a phone call to this person. I need to connect with this person. Like when you just know, like, what do you need? Do you need connection? Do you need autonomy? Do you need health? Do you need rest and flow? Like, what do you need? And how can you curate that for yourself in that moment, or plan out and create a life that allows you to do those things? It's like, oh, well, this is easy. Now I can, because a lot of our clients, they work 70 hours a week. Like that's pretty normal for their occupation. I work 70 hours a week, I mean, not every week, but I don't have a hard time working 70 hours a week. It's not about working 9 to 5 or 3 to 2 or whatever it is that you're trying, 2 to 3 or whatever you're trying to do. It's not about time. It's like, what am I doing with this time that creates this sense of absolute fulfillment and peace and control and freedom? That's what it's about. And so now, obviously, there's a piece of how to navigate your career so that you're creating the necessary boundaries. You've got the communication and some of those things to do it. Like I don't want to oversimplify it, but if we just take away the construct of our careers for a moment and just say like, okay, nobody has to work. We have all the money in the world. Let's all line up here. The people with the greater well-being are going to be the people that understand human behavior. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I wish it wasn't true. I wish I could say like, you know what, if you play tennis every day at 5 a.m., you'll feel amazing. And that's why all those external things that other people will tell you, like, oh, you need to follow your passion and then you'll be so happy, or you need to meditate 5 times a day and then you'll feel so zen, or you need to eat, gluten-free, or I don't know, whatever. Like all of those are strategies to meet your biological needs. And you have to learn, and we should be teaching the world, but everyone should know, how do I do that for me? That's the key. And when you know how to do that, You can work anywhere in the world. You can tackle any, assignment, and you will not go back to that pattern of work has to come first. It's all or nothing. This is the way it has to be to create success. You'll be able to say, look, right now I'm going to lean in. Now I'm going to lean out. Today, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, I'm going to do this. And it just becomes this beautiful dance of getting your needs met versus I have to do these things first, and then I can live my life, right? Because that's what's creating the burnout. I have to achieve this, and then I'll be happy. It's that constant thinking that there's always going to be delayed gratification. Doesn't mean that you just live in bliss every second of the day. It's not like I just walk around and go like, oh, my life's so easy. Life's still hard. Life still has challenges. There's stress, there's pressure, there's all those things, but it's how you now know how to consume it and process it, and then continue to get your needs met at a very high level so that even in those chaotic, really tough times, you're like, I got this, right? Like, I got this. I'm not putting my life on hold, holding my breath, and then thinking I can re-engage with my life later. Like, life continues at a very high level. So that's what keeps you fulfilled. And just think about it this way. Like, think about your needs like water. So if you don't drink water, you get a little thirsty after a while, right? But dehydration starts like way back here, right? Like, you don't even notice you're getting dehydrated. So by the time you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. And then by the time you ignore that and continue to go past, what would be healthy for hydration, then we can get into some real danger zones. And that's the way burnout is, right? So burnout starts way back here, years before you actually hit the wall, through these patterns, through these behaviors. And then is it, sort of like the snowball, right? Like going downhill. Then all of a sudden, by the time it knocks you out from under your feet, that's when it's like, it's been going on for a while. And those patterns of behavior are so deep, and those beliefs of how we create success are so deep that it seems like the only solution is to quit your job and go do something else. And it's like, no, you just need to work differently, right? And you need to set your life up differently. And you do that, and life's fun. And success is fun. And you can be abundant and ambitious and not be suffering, right? I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just great. So I hope this chat was helpful for you today. Again, we see that a lot. Like, people will write into us and be like, Kate, you're wrong. People just need to follow their passion. And I'm like, well, not really. You could follow your passion, but also following your passion can make it easier for you to ignore the things in your life that are easy. Because it's like, I'm following my passion. This is my purpose. I'm doing great things. Don't bother me. And it's like, that's not going to make you feel better if you're still ignoring your family, ignoring your health, ignoring your sleep, not knowing how to process stress, and always putting something before your life. Your life is your life. Your life comes first, whatever that is. It doesn't mean that it's your personal life or your professional life. It's just life, right? And when you recognize that and you can live according to that, it's just awesome. So again, I hope this was really helpful for you. I look forward to seeing your comments and your questions. If you are someone who is struggling right now as a successful woman in your career, you're hitting that wall of burnout, you're thinking of walking away, you're thinking of, oh, I just need to become a, professional cookie baker on the side of the road. Give us a call, chat with one of our coaches first, and let us chat with, talk with you. Obviously, if we can help you, we'll tell you. If we can't, we have a whole host of other resources that we can suggest. If you've not seen one of our free trainings, we have a longer free training that sort of lays out all the things that we teach our clients and what they have seen before they began to work with us. We'll link it here somewhere, comments or in the post, so that you can access it as well. My goodness, I can't speak today. So it's been great speaking with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.